we do a stranger, and then we do maybe somebody that we have a little bit of problems with. You see, this is the thing. You start kind of gentle and don't go so, to the most difficult object. Is that okay with you? After lunch, a bit difficult or sometimes a bit dangerous to do reflections because you might fall asleep with the full stomach, but that's okay. No problem. No worry. Okay. Okay, so then again, main thing always to remember our values, to remember our qualities, and to remember that we could live our values spontaneously, uninterruptedly, and effortlessly, like in a very natural way, without having to, to first change the attitude before we start something. It's also good to see this wish to help, wish to be of benefit is very natural in us. So we already have it, we just need it to expand. Then good to reconnect with the sensations or the experiences you had, like when we did this, may I be happy, after causes of happiness, and just observe and just see what arises, because very often, strange enough, we don't dare to think like that, because we think, oh, that's not bodhicitta, this is self-cherishing. No, it's not, because when we take refuge, we say very clearly, take refuge, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, until I achieve full enlightenment. And then why we do this? In order to benefit all sentient beings and lead them to that state as well. I am doing this and this action. In this case, is doing this reflection. These 4 lines, they have a lot of meaning and they have a lot of attitude. First one is, I trust these methods. I will be able to live my values effortlessly, spontaneously. This is so important that we build that up. Without pushing, without judging. You're neither good nor a bad person. We're all actually okay. We should think that something is not okay. This okayness is not present at the moment. So with these methods that the Buddha taught, and he taught 84,000 teachings. Why so many? Because there are many people who are different. This is why you have to experience what works for you. I trust these methods. I'm ready to try them out. Methods of the Dharma, the Sangha, the people who will help me on this way, on this path. I take refuge in all 3 jewels, not just the Buddha, not just the Buddha and the Dharma, but the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And then if you want, you can visualize Shakyamuni Buddha, which is oneness with your Guru. So we need to think of both. The Guru is Buddha, Buddha is the Guru. And if you really, when you take refuge, like if you do this, first you have to think about this. Yeah, there's the Buddha, is the Guru, the Dharma, I have trust and all this. So first you have to conceptually think about these things, but then it comes naturally. So whenever you sit down to take refuge, the Buddha appears. It's just happening. Another habit that we forget is sometimes, because it's Mahayana refuge. So we visualize, like we put our father at your right side, our mom at your left side, the ones from this life. This life we remember. Because they are very important people in our life. They have given us this body with which now we can practice. And if you don't want to practice, we can have pleasant experiences. We can figure things out. We can have, more or less okay life. Or they have given us an education that we can take care of ourselves. Not everybody can, but we can. And that's thanks to the education that most of the time, again, that our parents gave us. If it's not the case for you, then just, leave that argument aside. They're always there when we take refuge. And if you get into the habit of first making an effort to put them there, then again, with time, they appear spontaneously. Then also people that make you nervous or people that you make nervous or uncomfortable, put in the space in front of us. So we need to know who makes us nervous. So we are on our guard next time we meet. And you don't have to put people that you will never probably meet, like your prime minister, president. The people that you meet daily life, because it's with them that we create karma. With our body and with our speech, especially. And people that we would rather have in front of us, we put behind us, friends, family, people that we really like to be together with. Then around us are all mother sentient beings. And in order to get an experience again, for me, not just for me, I don't know, I didn't read that somewhere, but I find it really helpful. I put away all the visual obstacles. Mountains, forests, lakes, oceans. And houses, walls. And I think that my eyes can see very, very far. Because my mind's eye can see very far. I can think of people in New York and then they appear. No houses, no cars, no visual objects. And then we see, so many sentient beings. And I'm one of them. We're not just thinking about this life. We've had contact with all these beings again and again and again and again since beginning this life. It's not 1,000 lives. It's not 10,000, not 100,000, not a million, not 10 millions. It's trillions and trillions and trillions of lifetimes. Can you imagine how one lifetime, you put them besides these other trillions of lifetimes, again, very small. We should neglect it, but also we put it into relationship with other, with the number of lifetimes we had before. And then the wish to get out of samsara, to think, wow, this will continue endlessly if I'm not making the effort to get out of it. How do I get out? Trusting the methods of the Buddha and by being fed up to be under the control of negative emotions. Why do I want to get out? Because every lifetime, so many people work for me. And what do I do for all? Nothing. It's a huge imbalance, what we get and what we give. In order to even it out, we think, yes, exactly, for all of it, not one excluded. I want to attain enlightenment so I can lead them to that state. Then only it becomes bodhicitta. And you have this urge, this wish to benefit others in whatever way you can, making their lives comfortable now, leading them to liberation and enlightenment. Important is that nobody gets excluded. The other part of bodhicitta is If I stay in that state that I am now, there's no way I can guide them there because I don't even know myself. I know maybe intellectually, but I'm still in the swamp, same as they are. So I have to attain enlightenment as quickly as possible in order to be of benefit to them. So these two wishes, they have to be there for it to be bodhicitta. Otherwise, not. And this is something you feel. Again, it's not just in the head, it's in your heart. Gosh, I have the potential. Let me kind of stop wasting time with creating hindrances for liberation and enlightenment. And again, we're just changing the mind. Nobody's asking you to be able to do that spontaneously yet. We are training, saying these things, by thinking them, and by being honest. Trust Buddha as the mentor, the Dharma as the method, the Sangha as my companions on the path. That's why I take refuge. I feel I'm going into a safe direction. In order to feel that, you need to know what the Buddha is, what the Dharma is, what the Sangha is. Then you feel protected and you feel safe. And by thinking of all sentient beings, the urge, wanting to make them discover their potential for good rebirth, liberation, and enlightenment. When we take refuge, we shouldn't feel like a poor sinner who never gets anything right. We feel very fortunate that we, from our side, we have this trust and we want to get out. And from the Buddha's side, he has the wisdom, the compassion, and the skills to guide us. So at the beginning, it might just be words. But when you start to really meditate on these words, the meaning of it, all of a sudden, you experience something. And it's a great antidote for negative emotion. And especially a great antidote for fear. By taking refuge like this, you have like kind of everybody. You have I want to attain enlightenment. You have your friends, the ones you like behind you. You have the ones we feel indifferent about. We don't know who they are. Still they exist. They have a right to be happy. We have the ones we don't like so much. So everybody is there. And now we try to even out our attitude towards them so that we don't have to go, so that with time, nobody is sitting behind you anymore. Nobody is sitting in front of you anymore. There's no more attachment. There's no more aversion. There is just beings around you and you're one of them. But it's good to go step by step. So now you think about somebody that when you think about this person, your heart opens very spontaneously. And again, enjoy it, experience that feeling. Not somebody you worry about. Somebody that maybe person is happy, person's well. Or you can imagine a situation, you're calling the person, you ask, are you? And the person says like, oh, wow, today I'm really well. This is the feeling you should have. kind of experience in your heart, in your throat, in your stomach, somewhere in your body. You hear your friend saying, wow, I'm really well. You know, the thought, it would be wonderful if you could kind of give me that answer every time I see you. May you have happiness and the causes for future. May you be strong, healthy, full of joy, at ease. And again, we take responsibility. Whatever I can do, I will give you happiness and causes for it. This is the starting of Bodhichtta, wanting to do something. Just the starting. And again, we ask for blessings and inspiration from the Buddha, from the Guru. May I be able to do this, because sometimes even people like this, we hurt them because of our self-cherishing and not really being considered about their feelings, thinking that we own them. Amazing how we are able to hurt friends much deeper than we hurt people we don't really care about. Or they hurt us. And you can imagine the person is saying, oh, today I'm not so well. Again, check your heart. What changes? Yeah, you don't need to put names or labels or whatever. You have to experience it. Compassion. Chogyam Trungpa says, compassion is the sore spot in your heart. You touch it, it hurts. The suffering of your friend is not yours. But the wish for your friend to be free needs to be cultivated in the mind first, before we start. It would be wonderful if you were free from whatever is bothering you at the moment. May you be free from suffering and causes of suffering. In whatever way I can, according to my present capacity, I will do what I can do now, but also I understand I have to become a Buddha to lead you to a state which is free from suffering, and most important, the causes of suffering. Again, we turn towards the Buddha who has finished the path. Please inspire me to be able. And the joy that we keep forgetting when we see people who are deeply, deeply, deeply stuck in their suffering, in their wrong views, in their addictions, in their habits. We have to remember again and again and again, they also have Buddha nature, because everybody has. And not only occasionally, Buddha nature is there all the time. We can never lose it. So now we're not just thinking about temporary happiness, we think about, would be wonderful if you were in that state of happiness where there is no suffering, like liberation and full awakening. In case you hear hammering, this is somebody is fixing the roof. Don't worry. May you be in that state of happiness where there is no suffering, like liberation and enlightenment. Much as I can, I will help you to bring up that Buddha nature that we all have. And for that, I have to attain enlightenment. Inspire me to be able to do so, we ask the Buddha and the Guru. Now we see that this person also is kind of thrown around by attachment, by aversion, by indifference. And instead of, when we act out, when we act kind of with these emotions, instead of creating causes for happiness, we create causes for future suffering. And then we think, okay, may you be free from, may you be able to live in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion and indifference. That would be so wonderful. May you be at peace. May you have an open heart towards all beings. Much as possible, according to my capacities, I will lead you to that state. Again, we start to understand at the moment, I'm caught in this as well. We ask for blessings. Please bless me to be able to do so. So when we did that with the friend, maybe you noticed more intensity, more liveliness, more genuineness when we were saying these sentences than when we did it with ourselves. That's not so helpful. The intensity has to be the same for all beings. It's not at the beginning, but if we keep doing it, when we start to feel how it feels, when we genuinely are happy when somebody is happy, when we genuinely want somebody to be free from suffering, and not attached love and compassion, because then it becomes too heavy, too big. I mean, this is like, this is like fine-tuning a very sensitive instrument, which is our mind. And the same as a guitar, you have to play it to hear whether it's in the right state or not. The mind, you have to experience to see whether it's going in the right direction. Okay, so then we take somebody that we don't care about so much, maybe somebody we know the face, the name, but yeah, they're happy, wonderful, they're not happy, not my problem. It doesn't have to be so, just kind of, yeah, poor thing, a little bit that kind of attitude. You try to bring the same intensity and genuineness into love, compassion, joy, and equanimity when you do it with this person by using, by using kind of argument, kind of there is no reason to feel indifference for this person. I think I'm not connected to that person, but come on, in all these previous lives, of course we have met. And also in this life, this person can become a friend. It can become an enemy, just like that. all the friends I have now, at one point they were complete strangers. I could have been sitting next to them on the bus, I don't know how many times, without noticing. How many of you remember really clearly the people you were sitting, like opposite or next to you on the bus or on the train, or in the pew of the supermarket or whatever? People you didn't know. Okay? We don't remember them. It's the same for our friends. They were total strangers until we recognized them as friends. Same as for the enemies. We didn't care about them. All of a sudden they did, or said something, and they changed. There's no reason to feel so remote, uninterested in this person that we so-called strange. Again, with the same intensity, may you be happy, or may you have happiness and the causes of happiness. Don't push, but see the difference. There is in my capacity, I will make you happy. And give you the causes for happiness, make you create the causes of happiness, or at least I will rejoice when you have happiness and you are creating the causes of happiness. Protected from jealousy. Then again, we turn towards Buddha. Please inspire me or bless me to be able to do so. We see that this person, just like me, constantly meets situations where it's too big, too difficult, too overwhelming, stress, frustration, not getting what they want, having what they don't want, kind of being stuck, lost in their own views and confusion and anger and attachment, the whole thing. You'll be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. Same intensity as for the friend. You look, you take your friend, you take the stranger. What's the difference? 99.999% is the same. Look different, maybe, different gender, different colored skin, but come on, these are just superficial stuff. Deep down, we're all the same. Wanting to be happy, not wanting to. May you be free from suffering, causes of suffering. Whatever is in my capacity, I will guide you to a state like this. And Buddha, please inspire me to be able. Also, this person is not so uninteresting as I think. This person also has Buddha potential, Buddha nature. So who knows, they might attain Buddhahood much faster than I do. Then if they only become interesting then again, no equanimity. Beings are just as important on our path than the Buddha. It would be wonderful if you had happiness, which is free from suffering, like liberation and full awakening. Whatever is in my capacity, I will lead you to that state. That we're not leaving out the people that we feel indifferent at the moment. And for that also we need inspiration, blessing. We ask the Buddha, please inspire me to be able one is equanimity. May you be able to live in a state of equanimity, which is free of anger, attachment, and indifference. May your heart be open towards all beings all the time. City I have guide you to a state like this. Buddha or Guru enable or inspire me to be able to do so. And you see, even if nothing happens in your heart or no big changes and all this, don't think that this is useless. This is so powerful to change our attitude. As long as we don't expect big results immediately, definitely this will bring us to full awakening. And if we're careful and we go step by step, we're not hurting ourselves. We're not overdoing. This is why now the last person that you're taking is individual, somebody who makes you nervous. Of course, I leave it up to you. If you want to take the person that you have really a lot of problems with and you are not able to open up your heart, but it might be too big and then you close up even more. So you are experienced enough. You know the Dharma. You have done this before. So whatever is according to your capacity, you take somebody that makes you nervous. And you watch what's happening when you think about the person. Heart closes, or at least there's no intensity, wishing them happiness and stuff. There's definitely no willingness to guide them to that state. That's not bodhicitta. If we exclude one person, no bodhicitta. So we give ourselves kind of the permission not to push right now, but also to think, now I have these negative feelings towards the person, but that can change. And I want this to change. Not that the person has to change, but I don't want to be under the control of this person anymore, because this person, just by being present, has the capacity to make you nervous. And it's not the person's fault. No need to blame others. It's our own attitude. If they're dangerous to you, if they're out to hurt you, you don't have to contact them. The attitude. Okay, so in general, when we don't like people, it's people who are either aggressive or, suffering. People who do a lot of negative things, or people have done one big negative thing. These three categories. And we don't know how to deal with them. We don't want to have contact with them. Now we open up our heart and we see, because they are such pains in the neck, it's difficult to like them. It's difficult to love them, something that everybody wants. We open up the heart a little bit, as much as possible, without pushing. We think, yeah, wow, wouldn't it be wonderful if you had happiness and the causes of happiness? Because then you could let go of your violence and your aggression. You could find happiness somewhere else than in being aggressive and in being violent. Next step, if you can, but you will feel your resistance, and tomorrow we're doing Chonglen, and so then remember that resistance. That's very helpful for the Tonglen practice. If you can, and even if it's just words, if you can think or say them, I will lead you to a state of happiness where there are also the causes of happiness. Basically, much as I can, I will make you. Just watch what's going on inside without interfering, as if you are the spectator of your ego-based mind and your wisdom and compassion having a conflict now. Just watch. It's so interesting. There is in my capacity, I will make you happy and give you the causes for future happiness. Difficult, hurts. Ego doesn't want to do this. Don't push, just watch. Loving kindness. Next one is compassion. So you see, people who are negative, people who kind of hurt others, people or mothers who beat their children, do you think they're happy? They're not happy. They do this because they suffer and they don't know what to do with the suffering. So it expresses itself as violence. So by suffering even more, they're not going to learn anything. Think, wouldn't it be wonderful if you were free from suffering and the causes of suffering, your aggression, your violence, wrong views, your addiction, not because of me, but because of you. If like this, you cannot be. You can't stop harming others. Whatever lies in my capacity, I will free you from suffering and the causes of suffering. And then another step, if you want me to free you. So we're not kind of pushing ourselves on anybody at the moment. But the wish to be able to do that is slowly, slowly developing. This is really difficult. There we ask for blessing. May I be able to do so? Please bless me. Buddha, Guru, Para, Genresic. Then even that person also has Buddha nature. So why waste time by being unpleasant with them? Again, these are just intellectual arguments. It doesn't mean you're able to change your habits towards them. We're just starting. So by thinking, we could think, well, what's the point of creating more suffering for them by being unpleasant? Then their Buddha nature gets covered even more. So that person also has the potential to be good, potential to be wise, compassionate, loving. See, everybody has a little bit of love, a little bit of kindness, a little bit of concentration, a little bit of wisdom. Be able to lead you to the state where there is happiness without any suffering, liberation and enlightenment. Please, Guru Deity, enable me or bless me to be able to do. May that person trust me. May I be guided by love and compassion, not by aggression. and aversion. Equanimity. May you be living in a state of equanimity, free from attachment, hatred, and indifference. Lies in my capacities, I will guide you there. And the blessings we ask from the Buddha, please bless me to be able to see that person like my own child. So it's not out of duty that I want to guide that person to full awakening, but out of joy, out of love, and out of peace. Then we just open up our hearts and we think we let go of these three categories and we put everybody there. Everybody is still here from when we took refuge, and they're here all the time anyway. Yeah, we cannot make them go away. They are here, whether we want or not. I think may all beings happiness and the causes of happiness. As much as I can, in my capacities, I will guide them there. Please inspire me to be able to. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes. It'd be so wonderful if they were free from suffering and the causes of suffering. There is in my capacity, I will guide them to a state that is free from suffering and the causes of suffering. Please bless me to be able to. All beings be living in a state which is free from all kinds of suffering, like liberation and enlightenment. I will guide them to that state. The moment I'm not capable, that is why I have to become a Buddha really quickly. Please bless me to be able to do so. The last one, may all sentient beings, like a big harmonious family, appreciating each other, respecting each other, listening to each other, supporting each other. All sentient beings live like that, without any aversion, without any attachment, without any. Guide them to that state. And for that, first, I have to even out my attachment, my aversion. It will take a long time, but it doesn't matter. I keep practicing, I keep training to attain full Buddhahood in order to lead all sentient beings to the state. Again, we think about the Buddha who has finished the path, who manifests as our Guru. We open up to receive the blessing and inspiration. Please bless me to be able. Okay. So this is what is called the Four Immeasurables, and it is kind of a preparation for bodhicitta, because then the mind is softened. You know, it's not so stone hard. These people I like, these people I dislike, and then bodhicitta becomes much easier. Very often we forget, and we want to make the step from self-cherishing to cherishing others. That step is too big. Yeah, so we have to go again in steps, because otherwise, as Geshe Tashi said, I really like that. If we don't have the stepping stones, we get our feet wet. You know, we kind of fail, and then we create even more negative karma and all this, because we were aiming for too high. Okay, so we talked about there's two kinds of bodhicitta, but actually there's two kinds of bodhicitta. Yeah. So we talked about ultimate bodhicitta, thinking about emptiness, which gets rid of self-grasping. Conventional bodhicitta, which is practicing kindness, compassion, generosity now, gets rid of the self-cherishing. But you see, very often we say, when somebody's very kind and always there for others, and then we say, oh, wow, he or she is such a bodhisattva. Have you ever thought like, talking about others? But we don't know, because we don't know, are they doing it just because they're doing it, or are they really doing it because they want to attain enlightenment? Because when we talk about bodhicitta, you have to be very clear. With bodhicitta, there are two things. Yeah, the wish to benefit others in whatever way doesn't mean just, oh, only if I can lead them to enlightenment, I will do something. Somebody is thirsty, you give him a glass of water. With bodhicitta, kind of, one day, may I give you dharma, something like this, So, so that's the one, benefiting others, understanding that the way we are at the moment, there's no way we can do this, and then the wish for us to attain full Buddhahood. Only then it becomes bodhicitta. So we can only judge for ourselves. We don't know what, if somebody's really kind and has seemingly no self-cherishing and always there for others, and has no self-interest and things like that, we don't know if it's really bodhicitta. Doesn't mean that it's no good to be like this. It's very good to have people like this, whether they have bodhicitta or not. Yeah, so please also don't judge them, say, yeah, but they're doing it without bodhicitta. Not like this. But when we think that we're practicing bodhicitta, these two aspects have to be present. Yeah, so the conventional is kind of the acting one, and the ultimate is to again and again and again to think about emptiness. I, the one who's doing the action itself, the other one who is receiving the action, all three spheres or all three circles, totally empty of any inherent existence. And if you practice generosity like this, is very good, because your arrogance about being generous kind of comes down. This is what Netta was always kind of afraid of, isn't it? That when you do good deeds, that you become arrogant and proud about it. Remember, like before the summer break, we had a few discussions like this in the Bodhicharyavatara. Yeah, but what about, when you become arrogant about it? If you think, well, I'm empty, they empty, action empty, well, what's to be proud about? And also, at one point, somebody said, oh, yeah, you with your Buddha nature, you're so arrogant. I said, why should I be arrogant about something that everybody has in the same way? Everybody has Buddha nature. So it's like saying, I'm very proud of I have two eyes. Most of the people have two eyes. Buddha nature, everybody has. Two eyes, maybe not everybody, but you see what I mean? We don't need to get arrogant about Buddha nature just because we heard about it and other people don't know. Everybody has it, and it's there all the time. So I think Geshe-ma will teach on Uttara Tantra Shastra from Asanga, Maitreya and Asanga, where it talks about Buddha nature. What is Buddha nature? How does it express itself? And all this, that everybody has it, it's there all the time, not just occasionally. Yeah, so this is great to kind of to hear these things, these statements. Okay, So we have ultimate bodhicitta, conventional bodhicitta. So the conventional one is the active one. But then we have also two other kinds of bodhicitta. You remember? Also, it's about going in steps, not kind of running. Yeah, Tomer?
Maybe aspiring bodhicitta and venturing bodhicitta, something like this.
Engaging or venturing, or like aspiring bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta. Can you see the difference? Do you understand the difference? That also is different. Okay, no. So it's like aspiring bodhicitta, you hear about bodhicitta, and then you go, wow, this is really a good thing. But I don't know, yeah, it's good, but a little bit like this, kind of not wanting to make the step to see the benefit of it, but I don't know. Then slowly, by seeing the benefit of it, like for example, reading the first chapter of Shantideva's Bodhicharyavatara, which is so inspiring because that's talking about the benefit of bodhicitta. And other texts also, or like, this one, Nagarjuna's 20 verses at the end, or the whole text, not just that one. That slowly, this is wonderful, but, the lessons. So we come to a point where we still think it's wonderful, but we're still hesitating a bit. This is then called aspirational bodhicitta. We have the aspiration to develop it. And I think at that stage, it is really good, if you can, to have contact with people who are practicing engaging bodhicitta in a very healthy way. People don't have to see what they are doing. They're just doing it very naturally. And especially this kind of equanimity that you see, they are welcoming everybody with a totally equal mind. Like I usually take Shitashi as an example, because I know him really well, that when he came to Bern, because nobody wanted to cook for him, so I was cooking for him or picked him up by train. I don't have a car, from the airport, and then we came back to Bern by train and like this, and spent time with him. All these years, we talked about difficult situations in centers or amongst people, not harmony and all this, but he never talked about this in a criticizing way. Such an amazing ability. And, whoever he saw, we had people who were half crazy, we had people who had no respect, we had people who were arrogant, people who were lazy, whatever. He welcomed everybody in such an open, and he was happy to see people, whoever they were. And to be able to observe that and to see that, then you go like, I want to be like this. And because I had the fortune of living in Dharamsala for 17 years, where I met not just big teachers, but also monks, lay people, nuns who had this kind of mind. Yeah. And I could see, wow, they have something I really also want, like peace of mind, serenity, and whatever happened, it was okay. It was very down to earth also. I had this nun friend. She was quite old. I was like 40, 50 at that time. She must have been, 70, 80. I don't speak Tibetan. She doesn't speak any English. So whenever I came down from Tushita, she was living in that little green house there, about halfway. And when she was out like this, we would kind of try to talk to each other in whatever way. And so like this. And then one day she came and she kind of took my arm and she opened her mouth and she kind of said, look, only one left, teeth. Yeah. Gradually her teeth were falling out and then only one tooth was left. So I thought, because I wanted to help her, so I thought, oh, wow, this is terrible, really. But she was kind of, hey, look, only one left. She was so excited. And so I thought, maybe I could pay for a denture. It's not so expensive in India, so that she can eat again. So then I went to get a translator. Maybe it was even Geshe-ma, I can't remember. Maybe Nimata. Anyway, I went to get a translator to make myself understood, and said, look, if you want, I pay for your to have new teeth for a denture. And she was very surprised. And she said, no, why? I am old. Old people don't have teeth. And, she didn't even think, oh, yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe I could. But then she said, but if you want to spend the money, you can give me the money, then I can buy good food. So you see, this kind of equanimity, can you imagine how would you go out into society with only one tooth left and being happy about it and laughing with an open mouth? Well, probably will go like this. Yeah. So this kind of equanimity, whatever happened to them, they take it calmly. Also Geshe-la, because Geshe Tashi now, he's abbot of Serame since 3 years. And with the corona situation and the young monks who don't want to stay inside, and also with the whole thing changing, internet and porno movies and that they have access to and all this, it becomes really, really difficult with the older lamas who don't want to change anything. And it's like, but he's talking about it, but again, not in a complaining way, but quite lightly and even laughing. So, yeah. So if you have this kind of, wow, Bodhichtta is really good. And if you can have contact with such people as inspiration, slowly, you're engaging Bodhichtta because of trust and because of faith will change into engaging Bodhichetta. And then, it changes from aspirational Bodhichetta into engaging Bodhichetta when you take Bodhisattva vows. So the first one, which probably still goes into aspirational Bodhichetta, that's what His Holiness is giving very often these days. I mean, quite occasionally, but quite often on Zoom. It's kind of still aspirational. You're not taking the vows yet, but you kind of promise that, okay, I will go in that direction until it's firm enough that I feel ready to take the vows. And to keep the vows is very difficult. But again, you won't be able to keep them all, but just to look at them from time to time. And then again, to think like, oh yeah, okay, oh yeah, this is one of them. This is one of them. Oh, I'm not keeping it. Not to feel bad, but to feel regret and to think, oh gosh, I have to be more careful. So that slowly our behavior changes, because wanting bodhicitta and then not wanting the vows because you can't keep them, it doesn't make sense, because the vows are there to protect you and to help you practice the six perfections. Okay, you can find the bodhisattva vows on the internet. It's absolutely not a problem. So, just the first one is praising yourself and belittling others. That's the first of the bodhicitta vows. So how many times do we do that when we criticize somebody? And we think, whenever we criticize somebody, it's really good to see that attitude. We go, blah, 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 blah. I don't do that. And have you ever noticed we don't criticize people so much when we know consciously that we're making the same mistake? But we need to know consciously, because sometimes we think we're not making the mistake. We're not making the same mistake, but we are. Have you ever noticed that? We love to criticize people when we think we're not making these mistakes, isn't it? Then, whoa, I'm not good. I'm not like this. I'm not doing. Yeah. So then the bodhisattva vows, it's good to, of course, you need to know them. It's good to revive them. It's good to look at them. And they help us to practice the six perfections. Like one of them also is, for example, not inviting invitations because you don't like the person or you don't want to be seen with the person. Another one goes into, or not accepting presents also because you don't want to own anything to that person. So again, your attitude starts to change, but at the beginning it's contrived. We have to think about it. So when somebody gives you a present, how many times have you thought, how wonderful, because of me, they are able to create the karma of generosity? How many times have you thought like that? It's just like, oh, wow, thank you very much. But you see, you can rejoice in receiving presents double and triple when you think, okay, wow, so wonderful, she's giving me a present. On top of it, it will come back to her in terms of positive energy to be, to have her in affluence, not just material things, but also spiritual kind of richness. So we start to change our thinking, and then you're even happier about the presents you get. Then it doesn't really matter what it is. Yeah, if it's just, oh, wow, this I don't like. What shall I do with this? Oh, my gosh, So I'm a bit like this because I don't live anywhere. So whatever people give me, material things, because I don't need anything, I have everything, then it always becomes a burden. So people know that if they give me whatever, sweater, jacket, whatever it is, I will most probably give it away to somebody else who needs it or who wants it. You needs it, doesn't need it, doesn't matter. They can then also kind of pass it on. So people need to know that when they give me something, because otherwise they might feel hurt when they want to give me something. And you see, it's not out of nastiness or whatever, and we do the same thing. We give something that we like, right? So at one point also somebody kind of gave me or made actually for me a beautiful blanket, something like this, but much thicker. It would have filled half of my suitcase. And so I said, look, I'm really sorry. I would give that to a homeless person before I go back to where I was living. Yeah. Because I don't need it. And I don't want to schlep it along with me because I will not use it, right? And she said, oh, but it's nice when you're sitting in your chair and watch TV. I say, I'm not sitting in a chair watching TV. And also I prefer sweaters and things like that anyway. So she was a bit hurt at the beginning. Then I said, but you can decide whom you want to give it to. And then she was thinking, said, oh yeah, I can give it to my old aunt. I can't remember who. And then it became joyful again, you see. Can you imagine how she would have felt? I would have taken it. I would have given it to a homeless person because it was cold and it was winter there. And she would have seen it. Can you imagine how she would have felt if I wouldn't have been honest? But it's very difficult to be honest about these things. Would you like to say something to this? Maybe tomorrow afternoon we'll talk a little bit about the perfections, especially how to give. Oh, then we can see that we're not giving purely most of the time if we're not aware. It's all about awareness. Yeah, Edouard.
Yes, actually, it's Enad's thought. She started with it. Actually, when, very often our reaction is someone brings us a present, is, oh no, you should not have, you don't have to, etc., etc. So we're actually preventing the other person the joy of giving.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very strong point. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So we can rejoice more. We got something, that means they appreciate us. The other thing is that they're creating positive energy. And on top of it, because now, when somebody gives me something, I'm already thinking, wow, who could use that? So it's, I'm happy that I'm being given, instead of being unhappy that somebody gave me something, I'm happy that I can give it to somebody else who needs it and who can benefit from it. So it goes much further than that. Yeah. So, but it's not so, people don't like it when you so much, Buddhist is okay. And people who know me well, they know that. So, and still sometimes they insist on giving me something. So I said, yeah, well, fine, it's okay. But 90% of the time I give it to somebody else. Even if it's statues and holy objects, I'm not keeping them. I have just a few and a very small altar, and that's good enough. So it's like, I don't need these. For some people, it's very inspiring. I'm not saying it's not good to have big things and, whole room full of holy objects to inspire you. Whatever inspires you, this is what becomes inspiring. Yeah. So it's not in society, like in ordinary society, people would be shocked, and they give you something, they say, "Oh, I will give it away." They wouldn't be happy. Yeah. But if you give it away, actually, the person keeps creating positive energy because the present is traveling around in a way. It makes many people happy, and instead of just one, and then I put it in the cupboard, or something like that. Also, giving money is interesting because sometimes that would be the most useful thing, is to give money. But with money, we understand, the person is not going to keep it, because keeping money is no point, right? Money is there to spend. It's not to keep and to put it on a shelf or something like that. Like, if somebody would give me a statue and then I give it away, and they would, maybe for a while it's on the altar, and then I give it away, and then they come and see, oh, how we think, we go like, where's my statue? We would think, isn't it? Not, where's her statue? It's like, where's my statue? Where is it? What have you done with it? And because it happened to me at one point, and I was really thinking, where is my present? It wasn't. But anyway, so then it's like we still have some kind of hold on it. So with money, you would never think, where's my 50 francs or something like that. You would never ask that. What have you done? We would even ask. We would not even ask, what have you done with my 50 francs that I gave you? With money, we can really give it away. Although it, again, now this is a hot discussion here. Homeless people, addicts, alcoholics. When we give them money, do we keep wanting to have control over the money, or do we give it freely and they can do with it whatever they want? What do you think? Mm-hmm.
They do whatever they want.
Yeah, that's the best.
It comes. I have to say that that's what my father told me when I was a young man, and I kept this advice. He says, that's the way to help. You're not going to change the person by giving a few francs. So give. You want to give, just give it, and that's it.
What a wise dad! If you would see me, I have tears in my eyes. It is so true what your dad said, and for that, you don't have to be a Buddhist, actually. This is giving is forgiving. It's not like, and as you say, you're not changing their addiction because you're not giving anything. Come on. I mean, who do we think we are? But if that's your attitude, you say, no, I don't want to kind of participate or to contribute to their addiction, you can give the money to an organization who is helping them. But very often is, oh no, I don't want them to drink more and this, it's because we don't want to give. So at least we can be honest and say, no, I don't want to give anything, which is your right. It's fine. Nobody is forcing you to give money to these people. But again, don't forget, they are giving us the opportunity in such a simple way to practice generosity. Like I was in the train station in Bern at one point, and then this guy coming towards me with a bicycle, and he says, do you speak French? So I said, yes. And so he was from Belgium, and I don't know what had happened, but he kind of maybe lost his money or didn't have any. Also, it's none of my business to know why he is there and he doesn't have money. But he was really embarrassed, and he said, look, I'm really hungry and I don't have money, and I'm so embarrassed, and I'm so sorry to ask, I feel so bad to ask for it. So I said, don't feel bad. You are giving me the opportunity to give you some money to buy some food. So why would you feel bad about it? Yeah. So we kind of, the way a bodhisattva, I'm not saying I'm a bodhisattva, right? So, but the way you start to think in the bodhisattva way is totally opposite. I am not the one who is the giver. I'm actually receiving a lot by giving, because he's giving me the causes to attain enlightenment. Yeah. So he was happy, I was happy. We made very good contact. until we kept on chatting a bit. And I went home much happier. Okay, 10 francs less in my pocket, but much happier than with the 10 francs in my pocket. More. Do you see what I mean? I think in Europe, in Europe or in the West, we haven't really learned the joy of giving yet. If you give freely, it makes you so happy, you know. Like here in front of the supermarket, there's one guy, you know, kind of painted in white, and he looks like Mozart, and he's standing there the whole day. I tell you, I have high admiration for him. I would not be able to do that. Not because I don't want to ask for money, but the capacity not to talk, just to stay there still, you know, not to do anything, not to be active. I wouldn't be able to do that. So I honor that by every time I go, I give him some money. The other one was playing always, you know, from Frank Sinatra, This Is My Way. He's always playing the same thing. So I give him some money. There's not so many here, but I'm happy that these people are there. And then you create a connection with them, you know, and they're easy to connect with, much easier than normal people, because if you start to talk to normal people, they will go like, oh, what does she want from me? Or something like that. They're very open for conversations, connection, and all that. Not everybody. Some are violent also. We are so sorry, but we should leave in a few minutes. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is okay. Anyway, we finish in 15 minutes. Because we kind of finished for today anyway. So thank you very much for participating. So that's just what I wanted to say. We have these ultimate bodhicitta, conventional bodhicitta, and we have aspirational and engaging bodhicitta. The aspirational, we think it's something really great. And the engaging is, we look at the bodhisattva vows, we take them, and then as much as possible, we practice the 6 perfections instead of running away from them, you know, like patience. In order to practice patience, we need difficult situations. So we don't need to adjust the situation all the time. And we think, wow, wonderful. I have the opportunity to create causes for my enlightenment instead of going, whoa, this is really. Yeah. So the causes for bodhicitta are also, we need, yeah, I just finished with this, then you can say what you want, Einat. We need to see the benefit of it. It's good for me, it's good for others. It's difficult to develop. It will take a long time. It hurts at the beginning, but in the end, it will be wonderful. So it's good to think about the benefit, you know. Again, the foundation of all good qualities is the kind and venerable master or teacher, because he is the living example, how happy he is, calm and serene, and how it is good for people around them, right? So we need to see the benefit of it. We need to have devotion to the Buddha, means when the Buddha says you have Buddha potential, we have to trust it. Trust comes from listening to the teachings, trying them out, seeing that some of it works, the things that we can check. Then for it to become bodhicitta, we need to see the suffering of all sentient beings, also the rich and the beautiful, that they also have like subtle suffering. And we need the inspiration of a spiritual master, the living person, and the fearlessness to bear the hardships on the path. When you have these things together, then bodhicitta will hold. Einat, what would you have wanted to say?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, just thank you. Okay, bye. Enjoy the rest of the day or the evening, and yeah, enjoy with bodhicitta kind of thing.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you tomorrow. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Anila,
Okay. Yeah?
I just want to share a funny story, and maybe
Okay.
it has deeper, because I'm talking with my children about the feeling of giving compared to taking or receiving, and how is a good feeling it is. And in birthday, I try to practice with them to change, to give in the birthday instead of being like wanting
Right.
to. But then it comes against me, because when they ask things from me and they want money or something, And they ask, Mommy, what is the best feeling? Is to give. So please give whatever we ask. And I am stuck there.
Yeah. Children are very good of turning these arguments that we give them for kind of doing something beneficial to turn them against us. They're really, really good. So
you have an answer for me? So I'll be ready.
Probably depends on the situation. It also depends what they want, right? And then then also to explain why you don't want to give. And then also it depends on the age of the children, because sometimes, the more you argue with them, because also they kind of develop the ability to discuss with you, to debate with you. And since there is always a yes, but, they come with this yes, but. So you need to find kind of, arguments is maybe not the right word. You need to find points and reasons that they understand why you are not giving it to them now. But you can say, okay, I give you love. And you give them a big hug, and you really open up your heart totally, kind of, and you hold them. Maybe then they understand this is better than getting material things. But sometimes children are absolutely not open to these things. We talked about younger children, about they're constantly fighting with each other, two brothers, and they were 5 and 4 or something like this. And one is stronger than the other, so it was screaming. They were living in the same house in Bern. So I said to Niron, I said, look, but why do you always need to have it for yourself? Why can't you share it with Lauren? But it's like, no way, it didn't get through to him. This thing, maybe what Edouard was saying, also this instinct of having to survive and wanting something, being somebody or whatever, is very, very strong in small children. So maybe that, they don't have the grown-up intelligence yet to understand, or I don't really know. But still, if you see what Caro is having her two, a cat and a dog, see how they love each other, more or less. Bailey was there first, the cat was there first. So he's like, so it's with children, sometimes it's difficult. We want to make their life easy by giving them all these good arguments, want to give them a good Dharma education. But sometimes maybe, it's not really working so well because they can't figure it out, like the long run, the benefit in the long run. Still, I don't know. I can't say, because I'm, talking to them and listening to them is quite good, but they need to be there for me to be able to say something. If you can give them a good explanation why you don't want to give it, is good enough. Or to say no also. We also have to learn, there's another learning process. You can't always get what you want, right? So, okay. Anybody else would like to share something or say something? Because otherwise then we can stop here. And then tomorrow, tell you what we do tomorrow. So tomorrow we look at the second method, which is exchanging ourselves for others. And, like in a very, I didn't teach very officially today, I didn't go through all these lists, because I know that you all know. Can you give me the co-host, Netta, so then I can just briefly, quickly show before we finish? Okay. Oh. Okay, here we go. Yeah, like what we did today is this one. Not explicitly, because I think you have heard this, I don't know how many times already. So, sometimes I think better to discuss it than to go through the same points again and again and again, because it can be terribly misunderstood. So seeing all beings as having been our kind mother, remembering their kindness, wanting to repay their kindness. These are step by step. It kind of comes by seeing all the mothers, by seeing how kind the mother is, and kind in, kind in whatever is her capacity to give to us. Nobody has a plan to be a bad mother. Nobody enjoys being a bad mother, by the way. So it's like a bad, whatever is a bad mother is another big question. There are no bad mothers. There are mothers who are not able to love their children in a biologically natural way. It's just a fact. This is how it is, because they're totally locked up in their own suffering. Then wanting to repay the kindness, this is also a very human attitude. When we understand somebody's kind to us, very naturally, as a grown-up, maybe not as children yet, but very naturally we want to repay the kindness, almost a need. Then out of this comes love. We're happy when they're happy, but then we see they're not happy. Out of this comes compassion. And the great resolve is like, I have to attain I have to become a Buddha, because otherwise how can I relieve them from suffering and the causes of suffering? And then out of that comes bodhicitta. So that's why it's called the 6 causes, which then has one effect, which is that seeing all beings as your mother is the first cause, remembering that kindness is the second, wanting to repay their kindness the third, love the fourth cause, compassion arises out of that, which is the fifth cause. The sixth cause, this resolve or this decision, even if I'm the only one who is there to liberate them, I will do this. That is called laksam, or the extraordinary thought, or the great resolve. And then bodhicitta gets developed. Then it's there, and it's there spontaneously and all the time. If we go through these points again and again and again and again, we will have to go a long while until it's there. But it's okay, just keep going. At one point, we will get it. Also, people like Geshe Tashi, His Holiness Dalai Lama, they didn't do this in one lifetime. They probably practiced many, many, many lifetimes. So now we have the result. They started also where we are at one point. Then tomorrow we will look at this method, and also how it can be combined together. Okay, and then maybe if you have time in the afternoon, we go quickly into the 6 perfections, which can be the whole. Also, you have heard this many, many, many times. Okay, so that's what we'll do tomorrow. And of course, the reflections and the meditations on it, and then the weekend in 2 weeks. Then we go through the whole Lam Rim in steps, the 3 levels, in order to internalize the thing a little bit. So what happens in these analytical meditations is that we get a feeling, we get an experience, and then we think we have understood, the meditation finished, we walk out, again, we forgot that we can die any moment. So this is how it goes. So we have to repeat again and again and again and again, and not just to repeat, but also really clearing away the hindrances by doing, by doing purification. It's not an easy task, I tell you. It is probably the most difficult thing that humans have ever done, is to put the happiness of all others before them. But it's also the most noble thing that is being done. And even we don't succeed in this life, this is the best thing you can do with your life. What Netta, when you ask what is meaningful and what has no meaning, whatever is just for this life and for my happiness, family, friends, is pretty meaningless, because at the time of death is finished. Whatever we do with bodhicitta, I have to attain enlightenment, that keeps going until we have attained enlightenment. So that is meaningful. That can be, giving water to your plant with bodhicitta. May I be able, the same way I am giving this plant water, may I be able to quench the thirst of suffering and causes of suffering for all beings. Then it's bodhicitta. Yeah, but we have to be aware of it. So you don't have to change so much in your activities. But also, it can, the danger there is that it becomes just an excuse for doing whatever we want to do, and we put behind it, we put the bodhicitta motivation. people can act quite nastily, and I have seen it with this saying, but I do it out of bodhicitta. It's like, oh. So we have to be careful that we're really honest. Is that okay for you people? Because then we will do the dedication. Yeah? If you're not saying anything, I guess it's okay. So of course we think about His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the living Buddha. Maybe tomorrow also we look at the Genresic Prayer, which I find very, very helpful, where we ask for protection in different life situations, because whenever the life situation is difficult and we're remembering Genresic, the Buddha of compassion, and we're asking for protection, we are protected. This is it. This is the protection that the Buddhas can give us when we remember them. When we don't remember them, then, just keep creating more negative karma. So we wish from the bottom of our heart for His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all teachers teaching the true path to full awakening, all teachers who are the foundation of all my good qualities, who are my inspiration, who are, when I think of them, they bring up joy, open heart, devotion, respect, happiness. If I don't have to organize the visit. If I can just go to the teaching, usually I have to organize the visit. It's quite complicated. Then the happiness is a bit taunted. But then when I just sit there in front of them, then gone. But I'm lazy. What do you want me to do? So the best thing is that I'm most happy is when I know they're coming and I can only go to the teaching. So if you are in a position like this, feel very, very happy, because sometimes big job, big work, but it's great, and to wish for them to be able to come again to our country so we can have direct contact. Otherwise, it goes a little bit into consumerism, this whole thing. So the hardship of preparing the visit, I have to talk to myself. I have to take it upon me so that people can enjoy the teachings of these wonderful beings. So, in the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Genresic Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends, and all other teachers teaching true path to awakening as well. And the formal dedication through these merits, through the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha, lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. So then again, this is the dedication with Bodhichtta. May the precious body-mind, Bodhichtta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase evermore. We can do Shantideva, that's nice. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy. By virtue of my merits, may no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. And then we take responsibility that we are able to bring all this about. And we say, for as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then, may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. And don't worry, because once we have developed bodhicitta, everything becomes much easier because we understand emptiness and we see everything is just a projection of the mind. Okay, so thank you very, very much. Have a nice evening. Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy your your Friday evening dinner, and maybe see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Anila.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Tomorrow.
Thank you.
Angela. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.